Okay, so we're going to talk about Cézanne, and this is really important. Once you understand this, there's no turning back. It changes your awareness of color and painting forever. Anecdotally, I'll just tell you that when I was an art student as an undergrad, I remember my teachers who were heroes to me talking about Cézanne and how great Cézanne was, but they never really said why he was great. And I kept looking, kept kind of asking myself, why are these paintings? What is it about these paintings that these people I admire so much think is so great? And it took me years of looking at them until all of a sudden, one day, at the Museum of the Art Institute of Chicago, I was standing in front of a Cézanne painting, and I kind of got it. All those years of looking it just took time to really see and understand what was going on. And here we are in painting one, and I'm just going to tell you, I'm just going to give it to you so you'll understand. And that is, Cézanne is thought of as a post-impressionist. He was influenced by Impressionism and their use of color, but Cézanne wanted something different. Cézanne, I think he's quoted as saying that he wanted to he wanted his work to be neoclassical work, to feel Poussin's paintings, only using color differently. He wanted things to feel kind of everlasting and outside of time. And if you think about it, Impressionism is all about light. Light exists in time, and light is changing every moment. So there's no separating time from light. And so Cézanne was very interested in color and this greater awareness of color and how color can be used in this kind of freer use of color. But if he's going to paint light, there's going to be a suggestion of time, and that's what he wanted to eliminate. So if you look at Cézanne's paintings, there's illumination, but there is not that daytime, that, oh, it looks like it's 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and that's intentional. So what do we want to learn from Cézanne? Well, a lot, but one of the main things is that color, he uses color to create form. He uses color like a sculptor. And that what you want to understand is that color appears to always hold a position in space. Here, I'm going to stick this up on the wall. That warm colors appear to come forward, bright colors appear to come forward, and light colors appear to come forward. Cool, dull, and dark colors appear to come forward, go back, recede. And so if you put a bright color next to a color that's a little duller, that bright color will look like it's closer. So you can, if you look at Cézanne, that's what he's doing when he's painting these apples, is he's using pieces of color that sit next to each other. One will feel a little closer, one will feel a little further back. And then where's the space in relationship to the form? So you're going to do a painting of apples in the style of Cézanne, and I don't want you to look at apples. I used to have students look at apples. I used to set it up, and what I discovered is that it's too distracting. You know what an apple looks like. You're going to make up your apples. You don't need to look at them, because I want you to really focus on the painting, what is happening right in front of you when you work, and really observing the behavior of color. Like when you look at this. Do you see how this looks like it's closer to us than that color in the space? And this looks like it's slightly further back than this. This looks like it's further back than that. Anyway, that's what we're going to study. So I'm gonna do a demo, and one word of caution from experience I will tell you is that maybe one of the most challenging things about doing this painting is that you have to go very slowly and very consciously. That it's inevitable that students at a certain point just start mindlessly dab, 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 and you can't do that. This is not a dialed in kind of situation. You really have to put a piece of color down, put another piece next to it, and then watch what just happened. So you have to be very attentive and alert, which is why I don't want you looking at apples. I want you to look at your painting and the behavior of color. Okay, so I'm going to start. And this is the one time, or maybe 2 times in this class where you get to use line, because Cézanne does. So I'm mixing up a blue, and I want you to look at Cézanne's paintings, because Cézanne kind of outlines things in blue. Why does he do that? Anybody have any idea? Here, look, see? Blue. See that blue line? He does it because blue is going to be cool. Therefore, he puts that there. It's going to make that orange pop forward like that. Okay, so here's how I want you to start. And you shouldn't do a big painting. It should be small, whatever size it says in the syllabus. And I mixed up a blue. I used phthalo blue and ultramarine and some solvent. And so I want you to paint. You can paint 2 or 3 apples, but I don't want you to go like this. When you do your apple, I want you to build it out of planes that change direction. And I'll just teach you, maybe you learned this in drawing, that if you want something to feel more volumetric, you do it like this, where you just do these slight plane changes. It still creates a curve, but it feels more three-dimensional. Okay, so I'm gonna say there's gonna be an apple, and then I think I'll put another one back here behind it. And what I want to think about is, where's the axis? Like, where's the stem? I'm gonna say the stem is here. Maybe in this one, I'll make the stem go a different direction. Okay, so maybe it's gonna be something like that. You don't have to do this, but I like putting a plate in, so I'm going to do that. Same thing again. Kind of skinny lines. Okay. So I know where things are going to be. Now I'm going to get rid of that blue. I also want you to mix colors. You don't want to use all out of the tube colors, and there's a tendency to over-rely on yellow, red, and blue. There can be violets, pinks, browns, greens. You want to really intermix. You can make your apples yellow. They're yellow apples. You can make green apples. Maybe I'll make a green apple. So I'm going to use, that's quite bright. Okay. So what happens if I do this? I'm going to put that, that's about as big a spot of color as you want to put down. And now I'm going to go right next to it. I'm going to make that color a little duller by adding a little bit of red to it, because red is the complement of green. So that, I know that's going to make it duller. I'm going to put it right next to it here. Okay, do you see? Now you're going to stop and look, and you're going to say, oh yeah, that looks like it's closer. Maybe that's too dull, but don't worry about it, because, and you can put this color in a couple other places, because you're going to end up going over top of some of your colors to adjust them over time. All right, I'm going to try some, I'm going to try this color that's a little bit more red. What if I put this here? And then what if I put some here? And you can see I'm going slowly and very consciously. I'm painting, and I'm paying attention. Let's look at that. Okay, so that looks like it's a little closer than that. And Cézanne, if you look at his paintings, he will put, even in space back here, he'll use warm colors and cool colors, and they get adjusted over time. What would happen if I added, I'll mix a little bit of Indian yellow and white. Let's see what that looks like. Put that down. Huh. Okay, for now. But ultimately, if I'm trying to make this feel like a volume, we want what happens here to feel closer to us than what happens at the outside edge. Now I'm going to try alizarin crimson, and I'm going to mix it with some yellow. That's going to give me a different color. So I'll try that. Use it in a few spots. Here, I'm going to do something that might be dramatic. I'm going to mix up a blue and take an ultramarine blue. I'm going to add some burnt sienna to it to make it a little more complex. What happens if I put blue next to this? Do you see what happens? You see how that looks like it's further away? I'm going to use it in other places as well. But you can see, and Cézanne does this too, there are cooler and warmer colors back here. There's even spots where there's some red, and there's cooler colors here, in here as well. What would happen if I use some white? So take a look at this. This plate is closer to me, right? Woo, look. That popped forward, which helps the plate feel like it is closer. But remember, you can mix colors that don't have names. Remember that? Like there are, what about this? I don't know what color, that's nice though. So this is about the size that you want of your brush strokes, and this is about the speed that you want to go. So you're relying a lot on temperature of color more than on value. I mean, there can be darks. Whew, look at that. That is kind of phthalo green. What if I added a little yellow? That would really change it. I could do that here. So, and this is what's going to happen. Do you see how I'm sort of going over that brownish orange? That is going to happen gradually over the course as you kind of refine this. We don't want it to look like there's dramatic light and shadow, because this is Cézanne and he's not interested in time. He's interested in timelessness. You're going to do this until the entire board is covered. So you can tell. That's why I don't want you to do a big painting, because you'll get impatient and you'll start just going too fast, and you don't want to do that. So that's why it can be a small painting. All right, let's see there. There's a kind of that's nice. I like that. There's violet. But there could be violet in here, and maybe over time I'll kind of brighten that up, probably. What would happen if I used a really bright red, like kind of right out of the tube? Let's see. If I did that. Whew. Wow. That's exciting. That's fun. I like that. Eventually, like, it has to be duller to be back. Isn't that, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Now, I'm taking that color and I'm going to add some permanent green light. Let's see what happens. What if I put it here? Ooh, look at that. That's nice. I can even try some of it here. Maybe some of it here. But do you see how I'm taking my time? I'm actually, because this is a party, because I put a color down and I think, ooh, that's fun. What just happened? The painting just changed. Oh, that's fun. You also know that there's a Pinterest board of Cézanne's work, and there's also a Pinterest board of student paintings in the style of Cézanne. So you might find it helpful to look at those. What's this color? Oh, that's nice. I like that. I'm going to try some here in the space too. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I just softened Cézanne's edge. You may, over time, go back and restate those blue lines. I think probably you're going to do that. And you bounce around. You're not like painting one apple and then painting another apple and then painting the space. Cézanne is always, he takes one color and he puts it in a number of different places in the painting. Oh, that's fun. Wow, look at that, look at that. Oh. Do you feel it? Do you feel how that just went back and this? It pops this forward. Now I want to kind of restate that. I kind of lost it. I'm going to restate this here. Clean my brush because that, you know, that phthalo blue is strong. What happened? I'm using burnt sienna now. Okay. I want to get more colors in this guy. What about this? Oh, that's good. That could be really good. What if I put a little here? And I'm looking, I'm studying as I go because it's actually exciting to me. Because color behaves. Color is a behavior. It's doing stuff. Oh, look at that. Oh, I kind of like how when I went over top of the red, that did something good. Let me park some of that over here too. And even in the space. These are demos from other semesters of this painting, this project. Let's get something bright in here. What about that? Can that work? Maybe. I mean, maybe. I'll put some back here. What happens if I put it, look, I'm putting it sort of going over the violet just a little bit. That's okay too. But there's no, I don't want you really blending or smearing. We want to see the spots of color. We want to see that there are pieces of color there. It doesn't, It's okay if you put a color over top of another color, but it's not intended to be a blending situation. This is a crazy synthetic color here. Look at that. Ooh, like wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's probably too bright, but I can work with that over time. Put some of that here. So we want to make sure in the space that it feels like air. You know, we want it to feel like it's further away. So it's got to be cooler, duller, darker. But that's not to say there can't be warm colors back there. In fact, the one thing that I learned about Cézanne, and this, once you understand this, this is a game changer too. There is cool and warm color in every form. And once you understand that, it really, your paintings, they're just more, it's more real. I mean, Cézanne is becomes more real. Oh, that's not bad. That's good. What happens? I'll put some more over here. So this is the process, and you're going to go again very slowly until you get the whole thing covered, and you're going to be always asking yourself, does this apple feel like it comes forward? Does the space feel like it's going back? Am I mixing enough color? Look at all these colors in here that don't have names. Don't over rely on colors that have names as I put down a color that has a name. But this one doesn't. I don't know what color that is. Some students are more sensitive to value and contrast, and some students are more sensitive to temperature and chroma in color. If you're more sensitive to color, this may come a little bit more easily to you at first. But keep going. I mean, you've got to understand this. If you're going to be a painter, if you're going to paint, you can't not know this. You've got to understand. Otherwise, color just becomes descriptive, and you're not taking advantage. You're not hitting on all cylinders. I mean, that's what an amateur does. An amateur doesn't know this. An amateur is just using color descriptively, and color does way more than describe. I like what just happened right there. Something about that in relationship to this is good. Okay, so I would just keep I would keep working on this until it's done, but I want you to get started.